Hola y bienvenidos. Yo soy señora Nelson y estoy aquí para ayudarles in your mastery of the Spanish language. So, hit like and subscribe, and today I want to give you a really good safety tip, a really big and important safety tip when you are traveling abroad. Specifically, I'm speaking about Latin America, but obviously you can probably extend this. However, the countries I'm most familiar with are in Latin America. My tip today: trust the locals. Trust the locals. When it comes to safety, the people who live in that city know what is safe and know what is not. And I have been on both sides of that. When I moved to Honduras, I was way too scared to go to the grocery store. I was way too scared to leave my house. I was like, everything's unsafe, everything's bad, nothing's good. Oh, I can't leave my house. And then the people around me said, you know what? It's safe for you to go by yourself to the grocery store. You'll be fine. It's a block away. You'll be safe. So I went there and I was terrified and I was scared of everything and it was totally fine. And I went the next week and it was totally fine. I went the next week, 3 years later, it was still fine. And that road was still fine and I could venture to the nicer grocery store that was really like half a mile away and I was still fine. The locals knew. As scared as I was, as much as my heart raced, as much as I was terrified, I was totally safe and totally fine, just as the locals had promised. On the flip side, I once was helping some tourists from the United States, and the locals were saying, oh, this is a bad part of town. You guys don't want to be out here. You need to be really careful. And the tourists were like, oh no, everything looks great. Everything's nice. Everything's awesome. Let's hang out. Let's be loud. Let's be whatever. Nothing bad happened. Whew, praise the Lord. But if the locals are saying something is not safe, it is probably not safe, people. Again, check with the locals. Anything you do, anything. If it seems simple and you're like, no, I'll be totally fine, check. You want to go for a run? You want to go buy something? You want to get a little snack? Anything. Check with the locals. They know what's safe. They know what's not. Think about it in your own city. If you live in a city that's big enough to be, I guess, I don't know, however, good and bad, you'll know the good places and the bad places. You'll know the places that are safe during the day and not so safe at night. If your friend comes to visit, you can say, oh yeah, go for a run over here. Don't go over there, right? You know that in your own city. Be aware anytime you travel. If you're going on vacation, ask the people in the hotel, okay, is it safe to go over here? Is it good to go over here? They'll know. Trust them. Follow their advice. Is it safe to drive over here? Where is it safe to go? I've done that on vacation before, and people are so gracious and so good to help. Ask if you have a trustworthy taxi driver, ask them. Okay, we've been thinking of going, we ask people for advice of where to go for a restaurant. Make sure you're asking the locals advice of where is safe. Make sure, because again, it can look like two different streets, which is how it was in Honduras. Literally, this street's safe, that one's not. A block away from each other. You really need to make sure you ask locals before you try anything. Just keep yourself safe. Be wise, be humble enough to ask people, and then be humble enough to follow their advice. But I cannot stress it enough. Something that looks dangerous might be totally safe. Something that looks totally safe might be totally dangerous. Ask the locals, trust the locals, follow the locals, and keep yourself safe. And enjoy the trip. I'll see you guys next week.